Okay, hi, my name's Steve, and this is the first YouTube video I've done for a long time. Apologies, I'm doing this on a crappy, grainy old laptop with crappy, grainy old laptop webcam and crappy, grainy laptop microphone. I will try and get some better equipment in the future, but I've been having some interesting social media conversations, and I just wanted to get this out there. It's too long to put on social media, really, so I just wanted to get this out there. By the way, if you want a really good YouTuber who talks very sensibly about important topics, I don't always agree with him, but I think he talks very sensibly about important topics. Look up Noel Plum. Noel Plum. I think he's a very good YouTuber and very well worth subscribing to his channel. So anyway, what am I talking about? Well, oh, by the way, I'm going to be reading quite a lot of this because I've written it all down, and until I get the hang of this YouTube thing, it isn't going to be quite as off the cuff as it probably should be. So there we go. So if you think I'm not looking at the camera properly, that's probably because I'm desperately trying to read what I'm supposed to say next. So there we are. I've been intrigued and to some extent saddened by recent social media posts telling me that, in effect, I have no business taking a moderate position on Brexit and the shenanigans taking place in Parliament at the moment. That I have no business calling for calm and reasonable discourse in an attempt to stave off civil strife, which would almost certainly lead to social and economic strife further down the line. That I have no business pointing out that both sides are playing silly buggers in a desperate attempt to win at all costs, and that it needs to stop. Apparently, I'm not an expert either in economics or politics or history or our constitution, and therefore, if I'm trying to calm tempers and moderate the heat of debate, let alone question some of the blatant bias contained in some posts, it's simply that I don't understand how desperate and important the situation is. Basically, I should shut up and think what I'm told to by these self-appointed experts. Arrogant and condescending are words that come to mind, but there we are. It's also self-serving, of course, because it's only really zealous, passionate, frankly verging on hysterical Brexiteers and Remainers who engage in this sort of all or nothing. You're either with me or you're against me. There's no shades of grey. It's black and white, closed-minded rhetoric. And the danger is that if all you get from mainstream and social media are the extremes of the viewpoints, it can cause fear and panic in those who would otherwise keep calm and carry on, to use the old World War II phrase. Talking of World War II, I've even seen a post likening Boris Johnson and the current government to the Nazi regime. You know, the mind boggles, frankly. This is the sort of dangerous, over-the-top rhetoric that I'm trying to combat. And the person saying this thinks that they're credible outside of their little group of like-minded thinking friends. Bizarre. I mean, of course, if that's how people want to conduct themselves, I can't stop them. What I can do, though, is call it out and object to it by pointing out the danger to society of exaggeration and all or nothing closed-minded positions. We must remember that, firstly, just because you work in a field doesn't mean you can accurately foretell the future. For example, far more economists' predictions have been proven wrong by time over the last 100 years or so than right, I would suggest. Why is that? Because it's not an exact science. It's dealing with systems so complex that that have so many variables contained within them, including human nature, of course, the biggest variable of all, that it's amazing if any economist is completely correct about the future more than once or twice in their career. Why does the Bank of England, for example, publish its forecasts with a huge range of possibilities to either side? Because they accept that the complexities mean that an educated guess of what's going to happen in the future is the best that economists can manage, however expert and however experienced they may be. Secondly, we have to remember, and anyone with their eyes and ears open knows, especially if they actually manage to engage their brain at the same time, that many of the experts, so-called, our friendly experts, you see on TV, for example, are bringing a clear political bias to their testimonies and predictions. Again, it's human nature, but any idea that a doctor of something or a professor of something doesn't have political biases that they bring into what they say and any predictions they make is ludicrous. We're all human. We all have biases. Now, being aware of our own biases and making a conscious effort to listen and try to see things from the other person's point of view, well, that helps. But when push comes to shove, and particularly in difficult situations, we are all self-serving creatures and use most of our cognitive reasoning to justify continuing to believe what we already do. Thirdly, it's amazing, isn't it? We should accept what the experts say uncritically when those experts agree with us, but not when they don't. Go figure, as our American cousins would say. Finally, in our version of democracy, everyone, whatever their level of intelligence, whatever their IQ, barring people unfortunate enough to have severe mental incapacity, but essentially everyone, whatever their IQ, whatever their educational attainment, whatever their level of knowledge on any given subject, gets a vote equally. And this clearly sticks in the craw of some people. Presumably some people who consider themselves experts about what they're talking, and they don't like, thickies, as they would see them, having a view. I accept that intellectually a case can be made for a system whereby you get more of a say as the level of your intelligence rises. So the higher your intelligence level, the higher your IQ, I guess, the more of a say you get. Huxley's Brave New World, of course, was a dystopian future in which only people designated alpha would have a say, and everyone else gradually had less and less freedom over their life as they went down the cognitive intellectual scale. Do we really want to make this a reality by just blindly accepting whatever the purported experts, the self-designated alphas tell us, just unthinkingly, uncritically, not thinking for ourselves at all? Of course we should listen to people who are knowledgeable. In any field, they ought to have, and I'm sure do have, insights for us to consider within our overall position, but not blindly or uncritically, because of what I've said already. One, outside of hard science, and even inside hard science sometimes, there are so many variables that genuine accuracy of prediction is impossible. And two, that experts are human as well, and so have political and societal and attitudinal biases like the rest of us, which they bring into what they say. Our democracy has taken a very long time to get where it is, with many ups and downs, bumps in the road. Remember, though, what was discovered during the 19th and early 20th centuries, that while the mass of people may not have hugely high IQs, for example, they're not so stupid that they don't realize when they are being treated as mere servants of the ruling class elite. Major democratic reforms had to take place, basically, to prevent revolution. Anyone who doesn't see an analogy with the Brexit vote, where the majority of the lower socioeconomic groups voted to leave, is being willfully blind. They clearly feel that they are being left behind and taken for granted by the financially secure elite classes who are very happy with their cozy little lives, thanks very much. They're even being left behind, ironically, desperately ironically, by the Labour Party, telling them that they are stupid, bigoted, xenophobic, deplorables, isn't going to work now any better than it did then, back in the 19th and early 20th century. We can come out of this. I honestly believe that with calm and cool heads, and without, rhetoric which is just completely hyperbolic, completely exaggerated, and with people of goodwill willing to come together and to try and compromise, we can come out of this situation without our society falling apart. But not if the win at all costs folk, pandering to fears on either side, are the only voices heard in mainstream and social media. There we are. That's all I wanted to say. Again, apologies for the quality of the picture and the sound. It's on a crappy old laptop. I will try and do better in the future, but always welcome to know what people think. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.